last NBA slate to close out 2024, and we're going to hit it big here for our New Year's edition, special, brand New Year's Eve special. Well, you've been dying to get from me all year, but we're doing the same thing we always do here, so it's really not that special. I'm going to compare my projections to one of the industry leaders at Stokastic. We're going to see some sim lineups as well in the world of DFS. For the end of this video, we're going to hop to the prop betting markets with our friends at Unabated, see what the best bets are. By the end of this video, you'll know the must plays for this very festive New Year's Eve slate 2025 coming up. Let's go, guys. Sorry, I'm a little bit late to start this one. Had to rerun the sim. Felt like the data wasn't correct, which kind of threw me for a loop. Still think I'm not sure I got sim exposures that match what I want to do for the slate, but we'll talk about that. It is New Year's, so let's open a drink. I don't have a champagne, but I have, well, I wouldn't say the champagne of beers either because that's already trademarked. But I do have a Victory Golden Monkey here, my preferred beer of choice. Hope you're having whatever you want if that's what you want to do tonight. And if you're not doing it, more power to you because drinking's probably not good for you. The more you get old, the more you're like, maybe just don't do that. But hey, for tonight, why not? All right, top projected players right now. Again, comparing my projection here to Stokastic. I am low on Wemby today, but I still have him as the top projected player in the slate. 52.4 is my projection. Stokastic has him at 57.5. He'll be owned by 16% of the field. I got him in 42% of my sim lineups, which really confuses me. So basically what happened was I ran a sim, then adjusted the odds and adjusted the projections one more time just to make sure it was exactly where I wanted it to be. Was getting so much James Harden. Now I'm getting like no James Harden, getting a ton of Wemby. I'm not really sure what the difference is. Maybe because I'm getting more Memphis guys. There's pretty notable value on the Memphis Grizzlies side today. But things changed around a lot in the last sim, and I'm not really sure why. That's basically how it goes. Oh, there you go. You have Victory too. Hey, Victory is one of my favorite brewers. I think they do a good job with most of their beers, but obviously the Golden Monkey and their Juicy Monkey, really all the Monkey brand ones, pretty solid for me as a lover of Imperial IPAs kind of stuff. Number 2 projected player on the slate, Anthony Davis. This one's a crucial one. LeBron right now is questionable. Midday, heading into the day, both AD and LeBron were questionable. AD got the midday upgrade to probable. LeBron, no upgrade yet. So it does seem like there's a chance LeBron could miss. If he does miss, you're kind of getting a Lakers rotation. It's going to be doubly confusing because you have D'Angelo Russell. He was traded. We have not seen the new look Lakers rotation. How much does Shake Milton get in? Is it just Max Christie and Austin Reeves taking a lot of time? Both Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton are going to be available for today's game. Finney-Smith almost definitely going to play a good amount of minutes. Shake Milton, I don't know if he actually gets to the rotation or not. So that's a key one right now. If LeBron is out, AD is going to look like a much better play. I just did one Underdog Battle Royale because I had a few minutes and I was like, why not? Anthony Davis going at like the 102, 103 on Underdog. Honestly makes sense because if you do get LeBron out, it's going to look even better. As it is, he's the number 2 projected player on the slate. So AD got him in 19% compared to the field's 14. Doesn't feel like a big enough stand. I will be putting in a handful of entries in the big tournament that I kind of hand select and build. It's working really well for me, actually. Did that yesterday because the NFL slate just knew I wasn't going to get a ton of volume in. Finished top 150 yesterday in the big tournament. The $15 for 50K is what it was yesterday. Obviously nailed a lot of stuff on the video, so you maybe shouldn't be surprised by that. The thing that didn't get me there is Vasily Micic. Fucking Micic chalk always gets you. And Miles McBride, I took his early value, which I shouldn't have done given the value that opened up later on the slate. That's where I fucked up. Not playing Josh Hart, but I think maybe could have worked around that if I didn't have the 2 players there that were, not great overall, even though they were okay values. Anyway, that was yesterday. Today, though, we got SGA at number 3. So Wemby number 1, AD number 2, SGA at number 3. I'm a little bit lower than Stokastic, 49.7 compared to 52.1, a little bit higher on some of the other Thunder players. My blind spot for Isaiah Hartenstein continues on into 2025. So I would say that for SGA, another quality play. I feel like he, AD, Wemby, all very similar plays at similar price points, all very good. Really no gripe about it. I'm surprised I didn't get more James Harden, have 9% in the sim exposure compared to 16. I think it could be because of the guard value, but I think honestly something might have been wrong with the sim. It wasn't, I think, saving my projections correctly. Because I had a ton of Harden exposure. And I think when I'm building lineups tonight, I will have Harden. I'm at 48.1 today. Stokastic has at 44.6. So I think that Harden, one of the better plays in the slate, he's on the thumbnail. If you're ever worried about somebody going ham on New Year's Eve and that affecting their play, I would say James Harden be one of those guys you can worry about a little bit. Match versus the Thunder, versus the Spurs rather. One where maybe you could see decent defense coming his way from some of the young guards, but not really worried about that too much for Harden today. At 9,300, I think it's a nice price point. I like Harden more. If this is what I'm getting in the sim, I'm going to force my way to more. But really Harden, I think, a strong play here. Pivoting to KJ Simpson didn't work either. Yeah, unfortunately not. They had because they now have Daquan Jeffries playing some point guard too. Tell you what though, Miles Bridges, I really said it yesterday. I hate that guy. I think he's really, for everything I know based on his his court stuff, does not seem like a good dude. And on the court also seems like an asshole too. He like straight up was taking every possession on the home stretch. But for fantasy, holy shit, was he he was a monster in the second half yesterday. Miles Bridges, not a man to like, but oh my God, the way he drove it to overtime too. Just this weird fucking sloppy ass three. One of the best chalk plays, one of the best thumbnail plays of the year. So you get what, it's a trade-off. Mark Williams is great too. Was really happy with my Hornets sakes, but not stupid Micic. Never Micic should be the lesson yet I keep playing Micic like an idiot. Kevin Durant, I've highly projected here, 48 fantasy points compared to 47.7. LeBron James, 47.7 compared to 47.1. Of course, assuming LeBron goes. Again, not getting as much of these guys in the sim. It's confusing to me. I'm not sure why I'm getting so much Bane either, given the fact that my projection's lower. I really do think something is off with the sim based on how I'm viewing the slate, based on how my projections work. I think I'm going to get more Durant and Harden. I think I'm going to get more Anthony Davis. But for whatever reason, this is what the sim gave me for my exposure. More Garland makes sense. I'm high on him. More Randall. But that's sort of the overview right now for the top projected plays. Again, it's not the hugest slate in the world, so you're getting what you're getting here. We'll sort by value. Not that. Here we go. So there are a couple of values that look okay in the slate. Never as a man so hateful giving me so much scream. Yeah, look, I mean, Miles Bridges... you probably don't want to hang out with him, but for fucking fantasy, play Miles Bridges when there's no other Hornets left. He thinks he's like a superstar. He really plays like he thinks it's not fair that he's a third banana who doesn't get to shoot a lot. Jay Huff, top value on the slate right now. $3,800 salary. The big issue for Jay Huff is if you have a competitive spot for Memphis, one as well where Jaren Jackson avoids foul trouble. He is Jaren Jackson's direct backup. So, spot versus Phoenix, you have no Nurkic out there getting Plumlee is kind of a favorable big man spot. Jay Huff, I've better projected as well than Stokastic at 24.5 compared to their 23.2. That said, they have him at 21 minutes. You could see him play high teens minutes as well. Again, if Jackson can stay on the court and is playing well. So Jay Huff, I think a good play, getting him obviously a lot in the sim. Though I do have, again, questions about the sim and why it's giving me so much to certain guys. Jay Huff, though, there's no question about it. He's your top value. Just the minutes are a little bit tough. And if he doesn't produce well in less minutes, and he's probably not going to, he's really got no realistic pathway to closing. So as much as I like Jay Huff as the value on the slate, if you were to not play him, I wouldn't be mad at you for it because he's got no shot at closing unless Jaren Jackson fouls out. Good producer overall, but the minutes aren't really guaranteed. You have Zach Edey and Brandon Clark out, so he's got a better shot at playing more minutes, or at least more stable minutes than usual. But even 21 feels like a lot for him. But you're missing a lot of guys, so maybe he plays alongside Jackson a little bit. That would definitely open things up. It just hasn't been the case so far. Last game out, they did not play together at all. Huff and Jaren Jackson, that is. Dante DiVincenzo playing a lot of minutes lately. They have him projected for 28.7. I think he played just shy of 34 last game. He's not been great on the year. Have him at less than fantasy point per minute. He's been better than that sometimes in the past, but still a 27 fantasy point projection for me compared to 25.3 for Stokastic. I'm getting him in 40% of my lineups compared to the field's 26. DiVincenzo, a value play, and guys going to be in the rotation and have a good shot to close, which is one difference between him and a Jay Huff. Obviously, Jay Huff cheaper, though. And different positions, too. But DiVincenzo, the minutes are up is really the main thing. John Conchar really depleted Memphis rotation today. You're not going to have Ja Morant, not going to have Marcus Smart still. Missing even guys like Jake LaRavia. The bigs we talked about not there as well. So I think that for John Conchar, Luke Kennard, kind of the same point for both of them. Decent values. I am currently getting more Conchar than Kennard. I don't really think there's a big difference between them. Kennard's cheaper. Conchar, both shooting guard, small forward. So pick your poison here. I'm getting more Conchar. The field's getting more Conchar. Might be a good reason to go to Kennard just for that reason. Scottie Pippen Jr. looking pretty good, 61% for the field. I'm getting him in half my lineups. Memphis guys, it's hard to not get a lot of them. On my data sheet, which you'll see in a moment, it's just all red because it's just concentrated ownership here, both for the field and for me. Getting a lot of the value guys from Memphis, getting less Jaren Jackson, pretty much more of all these guys. Desmond Bain, despite being expensive, would be a top value for me, and I am lower projected in Stokastic. Have them at 40.1. They have them at 41.5. Jaden McDaniels, lesser owned value here. Guy who can close games as well at 4,100. Never the most exciting play, but he does play pretty big minutes. So McDaniels, your less owned value to go to. Harden up here, Zubac up here. Again, this is why I'm surprised I'm not getting more Harden, Zubac, even Vassell or Vassell. I have Harden projected about 3.5 points higher than Stokastic does. I have Zubac about 2 and change higher. Vassell 1.1 higher. It doesn't matter that much. But I like the Clippers a lot more here. So please don't let the sim exposure be your takeaway from my Clippers stuff. I think they're really low owned, and I'm going to be getting to them. I don't care what the sim gives me. Like, I'm going to force my way to more Clippers. I think they project really well. That said, let's go game by game, and got 4 games here, so it'll be pretty easy to do and still hit our unabated stuff at 4:30. Of course, check out our sponsors. Unabated helps you put on every show. $30 off with promo code SPLASH and Unabated. Check it out. Great betting tools and projections that are still very unique in the industry. If you wanted to use them for DraftKings or FanDuel, you'd have to do some little Excel tweaking for yourself, but you certainly can do it and use the projections. And they update, frankly, faster than some of the other sites out there from what I've seen. So check it out. Good usage there, whether you're betting or just using the data. And of course, Stokastic, be showing you a little bit more from them in a moment here when we hop to the Sims. But you're seeing some of their projections on the screen. If you want their data for yourself or their Sims tools for the DFS slates, check it out. Promo code SPLASH. Their Odds Shopper stuff too. You want a different betting product? Get Unabated and Odds Shopper. Frankly, probably if you could invest the time in doing both, you'd probably do well with both. But check that out. But yeah, there you go. Please. It's New Year's. Show some love. Clippers, 106.8 implied points. San Antonio, 110.8. Again, I'm shocked by my ownership being under the field here. Definitely something that I'll correct, but James Harden at 16% right now. Zubac at 22, Powell at 13. I like all these guys. They all produce really well, all averaging, 1 fantasy point per minute or higher. Harden at 1.3 generally. I'd have Harden today at 1.35, Zubac at 1.18, Powell at the same 1.05. That projection does account for sort of matchup stuff along with the Vegas total and all that. I think the Clippers are good plays. San Antonio, not a high-paced team. Still a pace up technically for the Clippers, who do play at one of the slowest paces in the league. That's maybe one thing to be concerned about. But really, to me, I think the Clippers are in a good spot, and I like these guys, and I'm not sure why the sim didn't give me them, but it really made me go, there's something wrong with the sim today. And I kind of think it was, at least for the run that I ran before the show. But I would favor Harden, would favor Zubac. Powell, okay play, shooting guard, small forward, but price tag's pretty high for him at 7,400. He's playing a good amount of minutes. Certainly can have a point total that makes you really need to have him on a kind of GPP slate. But Powell, I think the least of a priority here. Like Harden putting up 60, I think is a lot more likely than Powell giving you 50. I could be wrong about that, but that'd be my guess. Chris Dunn, getting him as a value play here, 15% compared to the field, 16. Kevin Porter, getting him as an alternate value here, 14% compared to the field, 7. Both guys kind of similar plays. Dunn plays more minutes. Porter's a lot more productive in fantasy. Porter probably due to play better at some point. A 48% sure shooting. You just can't be a pro and keep doing that. As we talked about so many times, is DeJounte Murray, who, by the way, finally hit on yesterday's slate. So good job by DeJounte Murray. It wasn't for his shooting, but he did hit DFS-wise. Anyway, that said, I think that these guys are okay values as well, but I really prefer the pay-up options for the Clippers if you can get them. San Antonio, again, shocked by my Wemby exposure, given the fact he is about 5 points lower than Stokastic has him at. That said, he does keep performing well. I feel like he does have a lot of games of outlier scoring or outlier blocks. I can't project that well enough. Still have him at 1.5 fantasy points a minute today, but he's averaging 1.59. So it is a pace down spot. Tough Clippers team going against him. But I do think for Wemby, I don't want to go crazy off the field on Wemby generally. I just feel like he's a little bit overpriced. In a way where like Jokic, we talked about yesterday, was one of the plays I was willing to die on the hill of. One of my splash plays, a guy that I was highlighting, thought he was worth every situation possible there based on the total matchup with Utah and all that. For Wemby, I just never get there in any slate. I think they want him to be like another Jokic, and he does sometimes spike that upside. But like Jokic, like, yeah, he gave you 90 yesterday. He'll give you 90 sometimes. Wemby will give you 80 sometimes. I don't think he gives you 60 every night. And I think that's what Jokic does. So I'm not as crazy about Wemby. I think you can get away with going to SGA. I think you can get away with going to Anthony Davis. I think you can get away with going to Harden. It's a lot of sim exposure, though. So maybe there's something about him that just works well. But a 4.5x value for me, not normally a player I would get 40% of. And I don't think it makes the most sense. Sohan, flat with the field, 19% compared to 20. Usually I get more Sohan, more Chris Paul, more Devin Vassell because of the fact that like I'm low on Wemby. And these guys all take decent usage, 20.5% usage rate for Jeremy Sohan, 23.7 for Devin Vassell. Chris Paul, more of an assist guy with his 40% assist rate, but it's a lot of time the ball's not in Wemby's hands basically between all these guys. So getting them, if you're not playing Wemby, tends to make sense. This particular one, I'm getting Sohan with the field, getting more Wemby, getting less Vassell, less Chris Paul. Keldon Johnson, minutes are down, but he's 3,500. Still has been a better producer in the past, but still 0.9 this year. Keldon Johnson, really on a slate, there's not value. You're getting him a little bit. He's going to be this highly owned by the field on a 4-game slate. 22.5% is probably fair. I'm a little bit above him in my top 150 with 31% exposure, but he's not a must-have. Like if LeBron's out, there's going to be better value that opens up in general. But for Keldon Johnson, he's just a cheap price point and small forward, power forward, and that's basically the reason to play him. Minnesota, 105 implied points. Oklahoma City, 112 implied points. We got a lot of ownership for Dante DiVincenzo. Talked about him already, but 40% for me compared to 26% for the field. Not a lot of great value. DiVincenzo played 33 minutes last game, almost 34. So DiVincenzo, I think that's really the main thing that he has going for him. Good minutes, probably due to shoot a little bit better. Has been a better producer in the past. I'd have him at 0.94 fantasy points per minute today, given the matchup versus OKC. Never thought Keldon's price get that low. He's just not really in the rotation right now. I mean, if he's projected for 20 minutes, you have other guys getting more run. We can look at San Antonio. We got time. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, they're paying him a lot of money, right? Like, I feel like he got a pretty big deal recently. But yeah, here's his last run on Popcorn Machine. Keldon Johnson played 17.5 minutes. I was basically playing direct backup for Harrison Barnes, it looks like. Harrison Barnes. Then in the fourth quarter, he got a little run with the starting group, and then they took him out and brought Barnes back in. That's probably the issue, is that they're keeping Barnes out there. Keldon Johnson just kind of shoots too much, I think. If you're gonna play Vassell and you're also gonna play Sohan, those guys shoot too much too. You probably don't want Keldon Johnson out there shooting too much. Like, you want Wemby to get his shots up. So I would think that's part of it. But yeah, look, he's a cheap price point. He can get hot from three. I just know that you want to play him. He's going to be played by about a quarter of the field, but it could work out. Minnesota, 105 implied points. Again, talked about DiVincenzo. Julius Randle, I'm high on, which again is really odd. I'm low on him projection-wise. Have 1.7 fantasy points less, but they're giving me more of him in the sim. I don't think that's correct. If you're having me build lineups like I'm going to do later, I'll probably not end up with Randle in them, but I'm just going to say it now. The sim gave him to me for whatever reason it is. Anthony Edwards, low on here. He's going to be one of the guys in the slate, under 10% owned, big upside. You do have SGA under 10% owned as well. Again, if you're getting some chalky ownership for the other guys, just dropping down to an Anthony Edwards, hoping to hit the upside can make sense. Price tag's pretty appropriate, though. I have him as a 4.6x value. So really, Minnesota's not well priced besides DiVincenzo, Jaden Daniels. Those guys, or Jaden McDaniels, excuse me. Jaden Daniels, always on the brain. Jaden McDaniels, okay value play. DiVincenzo, great value play, I think, right now. Naz Reid, also playable. The key guys up top, just not getting there. Thunder defense is going to be tough for Randle. In particular for Ant, they really should have a lot of guys to throw at him, but he's Anthony Edwards. That maybe just makes him angry. Dunks on 7 more guys instead. It could be the way that goes, but there's a tournament option. The ownership is there to play him and get that upside. Oklahoma City, 112 implied points on their side. I'm getting a little bit more of SGA, 16% compared to the field, 7. Jalen Williams getting 19% compared to the field, 7 there as well. So a bigger stand on Jalen Williams. Always hard to fill power forward, I feel like, based on most slates. For Jalen Williams, he's always got a decent floor, decent upside. Not the greatest projection for him today, though. His price tag's up enough. 8,900 is not the cheapest thing in the world. Isaiah Hartenstein. So this also doesn't make sense. I have 4 more fantasy points on Hartenstein than Stokastic does, and they gave me 2% exposure. I think he's another one I'll get more of. I think when I rerun stuff later on, again, the sim was possibly broken when I got it. It just wasn't saving my data, I think, because basically it flipped all my Clippers exposure, flipped my Hartenstein. Pretty sure I'm getting more Hartenstein here. Projects to be a good rebound spot. He's at 1.21 fantasy points per minute. I'm at 1.31 today. So technically a better producer than Jalen Williams is what I'd have Hartenstein at. My caveat would be that I always have Hartenstein over projected, and it is kind of hit and miss with him. Some days he's not involved enough. He does get assists and all that. That's great. But really the rebounding has to be there for him in a big way. And I think I probably have him getting too many rebounds generally. But he is rebounding at a 22% rate. So that's one of the higher marks in the league. What are you going to do? Shout out Sotex. Happy New Year's, everyone. Yeah, even though this is not a very celebratory stream, though, again, I do have a beer on a Tuesday. So I feel like how could I be more celebratory? I do wish you guys a happy New Year. Obviously, the one thing I've going for me is compared to other channels, of course, though, many of them still do it. I go through the holidays, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Not going to do a show tomorrow because there isn't any good slate timing. And also it's New Year's Day. But back Thursday, back Friday. So that's the grind here. If you want to subscribe, please do that. It go a long way for me here. Of course, trying to get our first 1,000 subs now, even though we should be able to get monetized at the 500. We have to wait for some analytics to set in, but subscribe, please do that. And check out the sponsors, Stokastic, 15% off, Unabated, $30 off, links to description, all those in the description, all those, and Unabated and Underdog. Check them all out. Check out all the uns. That's the goal here. All right. Take a sip of this. We got Cleveland with their 116.5 implied points. Lakers, a 111.5 on their side. Talked about before, LeBron James questionable. As a result, that's really a key thing on the slate you need to know. Unfortunately, LeBron is a 9 o'clock game, so you got to really hope you get it before the lock starts. So not sure how it's going to go. If you get LeBron in, the good news is you have Kevin Durant as a straight swap coming up. So that's something you could do instead. Basically, Kevin Durant's 9,600 in power forward center. LeBron is 9,700 in power forward only. So you should be able to make that swap no matter where you are, unless you're playing Durant in the same lineup. So keep that in mind. But LeBron questionable. Based on some of the lines, I think he goes because there was a little bit too much EV on the over for some of the guys like Austin Reeves, like Anthony Davis. I wrote that up for DK Network today based on Unabated's conditional NBA projections. But basically, I think there's too much EV on the over for those guys for LeBron not to play. That doesn't mean everything, but if I had to guess, I think LeBron plays. And he's playing Cleveland too, revenge game, etc. And happy Shaka Khan. Look, Hanukkah's going, right? Hanukkah's now how many days in? 6 days in? 5 days in? You tell me. Thoughts on Isaiah Joe's rotation? I have no thoughts about Isaiah Joe. They just move him around too much. He and Kason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins to a lesser extent. Like those guys, I never get them a lot here. I take the Stokastic projection for what they have it as. Kason Wallace getting 28 minutes. Isaiah Joe getting 19. He can get hot, but I don't think he should be a priority play. Anyway, for Cleveland here, nobody a big priority besides Darius Garland. The only guy who projects is over a 5x value to me. I'm okay with Garland here. I took him on the Battle Royale draft I did before the show as well. I think Garland's an okay play. I feel like this is a pretty big lean on Garland, though I am flat with the field on Mobley, flat with the field on Donovan Mitchell. Both guys around 12, 13%. It's a pretty big stand on Garland. I don't know that I need it. He's a little bit cheap at 7,200 though. I'm at 1.15 fantasy points minute today. He's been at 1.16 on the year. Shooting really well with 63.4% true shooting. So nice by Darius Garland. He's really the only play that's popping up here. For the Lakers side, they also don't look great. I'm kind of surprised they don't pop better with D'Angelo Russell not there anymore. Russell obviously vacating about 25% usage, decent assist rate. But that said, the minutes there, you have enough guys in the rotation. Max Christie projected for 28 minutes. Dorian Finney-Smith projected for 27. Shake Milton coming in only 12 minutes. So they do not have Stokastic giving him a meaningful role right away. But Anthony Davis looks pretty good. I think I'll get more to him when I'm mess with the sim a little bit more, or at least rerun it and see if I get my data a little bit better. But I got him at 19% as it is. Fields at 14. He is a play where if you get LeBron out, he's going to look like so much better of a play. Same thing for Austin Reeves. Same thing for Rui Hachimura. Dalton Connect probably gets more minutes as well. But I think those guys would all look a lot better. So the Lakers just one where AD is going to look good no matter what. Reeves, okay, currently would look a lot better with LeBron out. But I think if you get LeBron out, everybody looks a lot better here. They do run a little bit more of a risk getting boat raced by Cleveland, who is pretty good, but Cleveland's in LA. Maybe they went partying last night. Spread's not that big here. Now 5 points favoring Cleveland on the road. And last game here, we could hop to the world of Unabated, get some prop bets in, then run some DFS sims, call it a day and get out of here. Go pick up my child for 2025. Brand new. He's not going to be up till midnight, though. No chance. I wouldn't want it that way. It would be awful. Memphis, 115.3 implied points. Phoenix, pretty high total here, a 120.3. No Ja Morant, missing a lot of Memphis guys overall, including Brandon Clark, including Zach Edey, including Marcus Smart, including Santi Aldama. Still have enough bodies there, though. Still a 10-man rotation. So That's the main thing you have going for Memphis right now. Basically, these guys, Jaren Jackson generally been the best producer with Ja Morant off the court. Jaren Jackson averaging 1.44 fantasy points per minute and 1,000 possessions this year, so more than enough of a good sample size. With no Ja Morant, he plays well, 34% usage, 33.8%. If you want to be accurate to the decimal, 11% rebound rate, 11.4% assist rate. Not enough in assist and rebound rate, but still, improvements overall. I think Jaren Jackson's a good play. That said, I have about 1.1 points higher than Stokastic. Again, I think the sim's a little bit fucked up for me, so I think things are going to move around a little bit. But 13%, that's a good amount of ownership for me. Would like to get to maybe 25. I think Jaren Jackson with the field being at 27 today. Conchar is here as well. You're getting all these guys. Again, like Bane, I feel pretty good about. Bane feels like the usage has not been high enough this year without Ja Morant. He's been averaging 22.4% usage, so a minor increase, 12% rebound rate, so a minor increase, 24% assist rate, so get a minor increase. Bane, kind of like Kyrie Irving without Luka Doncic, just doesn't take a huge jump up overall, but he's cheap enough at 7,500, and he's shooting guard small forward. Sabane, I got in 63% of lineups. He's cheaper than Jaren Jackson. I think they're kind of similar plays, so I have no issue with Bane, but important to note that he doesn't become a new man. In previous years, and maybe it'll get back to that, he used to really become like a superstar when Ja Morant was out, and now seems like not the case, maybe because Scottie Pippen's also pretty good. Pippen in court time without Ja Morant this year, averaging 1.15 fantasy points per minute, 22% usage, 32% assist rate. So a little bit of a decent increase for him as well. Definitely better than Bane gets. He's 5,800, going to be playing 29 minutes as the projection right now from Stokastic. So Pippen, 61% for the field. I got him in half. I wouldn't mind being a little bit above, wouldn't mind being where I am with it. But you want to get a good amount of Scottie Pippen today, no matter what you're doing. Jalen Wells, kind of a shitty producer, 0.77 fantasy points a minute on the year. I'm at 0.74 today. That said, he's 4,300 in shooting guard, small forward. Field's going to play him a good amount at 36%. Conchar looks better to me at a little bit cheaper, so I'm getting him at 53%. Still getting Wells above the field, though. These guys are just cheap enough. The price tags work, allow you to get in better players. And you do have Ja Morant out, so like you can take your shot on any of these guys. I think in a perfect world, you would flatten this all out where you're getting like 33% Wells, 33% Conchar, 33% Kennard, or whatever, whatever rate you want to do. They're all the same play, really. One of them can hit, multiple of them can hit, but really none of them feel great. None of them produce that well. Conchar at least at a 0.84 fantasy point per minute on the year. Luke Kennard, 0.81. So starting matters, but it doesn't really matter if they're all getting about 30 minutes. Like Kennard getting a few less minutes, but if he's shooting well, he could take a few minutes from Jalen Wells / Conchar. Again, I think these guys are really just functionally the exact same play. Play 2 out of 3. Probably don't play 3 out of 3, but rotate them around is what I would suggest. Jay Huff, the backup center. As I mentioned, he does pull directly from Jaren Jackson. So if I have less Jaren Jackson, it does make sense to have more Huff. That said, Jaren Jackson, if he does avoid foul trouble, which is no guarantee going against Phoenix or just in general for him, certainly could be a spot where you could see Jay Huff get more minutes and really pay off that cheap price tag at 3,800. On a slate without a lot of value, he's a guy averaging 1.12 fantasy points per minute, playing about 21 minutes. So I think Jay Huff a pretty strong play right now. And last but not least, your Phoenix Suns, 120.3 implied points. Low on Kevin Durant. I don't know why, given that I have him about 0.3 points higher than Stokastic. That's what it is for right now. It's another thing that I think I'm going to move around. I want more Clippers than the sim gave me. I want more Kevin Durant. I want more Hartenstein based on my projections. That's how I would view that for me. But we're getting what we're getting right now. Not a lot of Devin Booker. He's questionable right now. I think he goes because he's been back at practice. Still certainly could get ruled out. But if he does get ruled out, Bradley Beal looks better. Durant looks better. Grayson Allen looks better. Tyus Jones looks better. Ryan Dunn a little bit better, probably for a few minutes. Everything looks better here, but really Durant and Beal in particular. And Beal unplayable, I think, with Booker in, becomes borderline playable with Booker out. Durant, good as it is, though. Good. You can play him right now, and if you get Booker out, even better. But I do think Booker plays. You're getting no Yusuf Nurkic in this game, so a little bit more Mason Plumlee for me. 25.8 minute projection from Stokastic. I'd have him at 25.5 fantasy points. Despite being lower than Stokastic, they have him at 27.1. I am getting 53% Mason Plumlee compared to the field's 33. He's a little bit down in his production this year, averaging 0.9 fantasy points a minute. He's generally been above 1 historically. But Plumlee, good play as value as well. More guaranteed minutes than Jay Huff. So you want to pivot to Jay Huff, pay up a little bit more, get Mason Plumlee. And that's that. Tyus Jones, chalky. Doesn't look quite as good for me, but whatever. 19% of them, I got 9%. Tyus Jones playing well, just not very high usage overall. So that's that. There you go. Shout out our guy, Posted Jen Stoner here. Appreciate him. Hope you're waking up. I mean, more power to you. I don't know if your schedule is, but it's insane if you're waking up to me, but I'm just a simple boy who wakes up at 8 a.m. on the East Coast. All right, let's go over to Unabated now. Let's see what we get. And of course, I got to share this video for you one more time in 2024 while I log in here. So stay tuned and let's learn about conditional NBA projections and betting with Unabated's data. New Year's. Happy New Year's, guys. Do the voiceover one more time here. Look at all this data on the screen. Get it in your eyes. Feast with your eyeballs once more in 2024. You want players in, you want players out, just save the Zion Williamson out button, and you're good to go. DeJounte Murray, that guy played pretty well in DFS finally yesterday. We got that going for us. Real-time NBA news. Tune out the liberal media in 2025. Oh, my God. Can't wait for the media in 2025. But you don't have to worry about that at Unabated. Just listen to what they have to say about various NBA players. Graphs! Forgot to yell about graphs. There's some graphs for you. I'm trying to log in at the same time. Expert Game Day live streams. Are they working on New Year's Eve? They are. They're working on the projections. They don't care about content. Not on New Year's Eve. They're too busy. They're locked in Projection Town. All right. Use that promo code SPLASH. Get it going. Here, let's shrink this screen and let's import those sweet, sweet unabated projections and sim them out for points and see what we get as some of the best plays on the day here. Kettle drums make me come. Thank you. Clue mushrooms. Okay. I don't know what that means. We got Cleveland not filing yet. It's weird. I don't expect Wade to play in a back-to-back. Right now, I think the projections have Strus and Okoro out, but certainly that would open things up a little bit more if you got some Cavs out. Again, they're in LA. I think they were in LA overnight, so maybe the boys had a time. Some bets you can still take here. Again, we have a couple games rolled out with the conditional projection, so I'm not gonna put those guys in for now because LeBron I think goes, Booker I think go, but I'm not confident enough to give you guys different bets and talk through it. But you got these are bets for tomorrow. You got any bets for today? Hey, how about some of them today bets? It's me scratching myself like Tyrone Biggums and looking for him. All right, there we go. Let's resort. There we go. Okay, John Conchar. Under 7.5 points for John Conchar. Gets you 20.2% EV on Underdog. Much softer line than PrizePicks. You don't want the PrizePicks line, but Underdog John Conchar under 7.5. Playable as well on DK Sportsbook under 6.5 at -105. Gets you 8.9% EV. But John Conchar on PrizePicks. Wait, no, that just moved. Oh, there we go. No, here we go. John Conchar and Underdog, one of your best bets of the day. Stephon Castle, under 7.5 points for him. That one's playable on PrizePicks. Looks like it's not available anywhere else. But the best EV right now, 20.6% EV for Stephon Castle, under 7.5 points. Julian Champagny or Champagny. I will never remember how to say these guys' names. The brothers' names, I don't know. 16.1% EV over 6.5 points for Champagny. Available on PrizePicks and Underdog, not available on DK Sportsbook or FanDuel, but Champagny over 6.5 points looking good on your pick'em sites right now. Jay Huff over 9.5 points. Team Jay Huff today. Your usual pick'em sites, PrizePicks Underdog, have it at 15.3% EV. Jay Huff's over, also looking good on DraftKings Sportsbook, over 9.5 points there for 14.4% EV. Champagny, right? Champagny. They should go with Champagny. It's so much more fun to say, especially on New Year's. You have a glass of Champagny and enjoy yourself. Harrison Barnes under 9.5 points, 13. Champagny. That's not fancy. That's not fancy and delicate in the way. I want Gatsby party. I want sad parties meant to make somebody far away know that I exist. That's what I want for my parties with Champagnies. But yes, Champagny. I appreciate Sotex walking me through it, though. One day I'll remember it. I can't guarantee today's that day. Harrison Barnes under 9.5 points, 13.4% EV on your pick'em sites. Also good on DK Sportsbook, 10.5% EV on under 9.5 points at -125. And same thing on FanDuel, but it's -128. So Harrison Barnes, bet you're under on points anywhere you can get it. Keldon Johnson under 11.5 points, projected for 10.7 today. 12% EV on PrizePicks and Underdog. You don't want on your sportsbooks, though. No good. And then Giannis for tomorrow. You want to do under 31.5 points for Giannis. You could do that. Oh, no. Diddy. Diddy would have a wonderful New Year's party, I'm sure, if he weren't in jail for whatever crimes he's committed. But, unfortunately, he is where he is. I hope he's having a nice party in jail, though. It doesn't seem like he's having a good time in jail based on what the reports are. I guess I shouldn't hope he's having a nice time in jail. But if we could root for Miles Bridges for gambling, we could root for Diddy to have an okay New Year's. Right? Do I get canceled for that? We're just getting all our markets in. This is what happens when I have to scroll to get all the markets in. Derek Jones tonight, over 2.5 rebounds, 21.9% EV on PrizePicks. Line is dead on Underdog, borderline bettable on DK Sportsbook for over 2.5 rebounds on Derek Jones. Looks a lot better on PrizePicks, though. Amir Coffey, under 2.5 rebounds for him, plus 100 odds on DK Sportsbook. Gets you 19% EV. Not playable on your pick'em sites, and you don't get it on FanDuel either. But Amir Coffey under 2.5 rebounds, good on DK Sportsbook. Devin Vassell under 3.5 rebounds, 18.3% EV on DK Sportsbook at their plus 124 odds. Still pretty good for PrizePicks, where it's under 4 there for a pick'em slip. And is it good on FanDuel as well? Oh, if it lets me click it. Yeah, good on FanDuel as well, under 3.5 at plus 106. Devin Vassell, good for under rebounds anywhere you can get it. Chris Dunn. I got Vassell right that time, that's sure. And I also got Diddy right, so I'm crushing. Chris Dunn, over 3.5 rebounds, plus 110 odds, 18.3% EV on FanDuel Sportsbook. Also getting 15.5% EV on DK Sportsbook, over 3.5 rebounds for Chris Dunn at plus 105. So Chris Dunn on your regular Sportsbook, not on your pick'ems. Bruce Brown, he's not playing today, but he's got some EV on his under on rebounds. Return from conditioning for Bruce Brown for like a month. How poorly conditioned was Bruce Brown? He was out for so long. Desmond Bane over 6.5 rebounds, 14.1% EV on DK Sportsbook. On FanDuel Sportsbook. You don't want it anywhere else, including DK Sportsbook. And Kevin Porter under 3.5 rebounds for him. Looks good on the pick'em sites, 11.7% EV for Underdog and PrizePicks for Kevin Porter Jr. under 3.5 rebounds. Assists coming up next. I feel like reading these, I always talk fast, but I feel like I'm the most like a auctioneer guy running an auction voice when doing these. You got yourself plus 110 odds and DK Sport going once, going twice. Who wants it? He definitely did some bad-ish. He made some real bangers and developed some artists that I still rock. Yeah, look, I mean, what's the line? Separate the art from the artist. Yeah, you got to do that sometimes. I don't know. Personal choice. I listen to Kendrick Lamar, and I think we all know there's nothing wrong with that guy. And it's all we can root for. Even despite what Drake says, nothing wrong with that guy. Kevin Porter Jr. under 3.5 assists, looking good on PrizePicks right now. Don't want it on the sports books, not available on Underdog with Kevin Porter Jr. Your highest EV at 23.2% for the under 3.5 assists you can get on PrizePicks right now. DFS Sims coming up in a moment, guys. We're staying tuned for that. I just got to go through the betting markets first here. Of course, because Unabated, giving people real EV that people are winning money with. So always got to make sure to go through it here on stream. James Harden, 21.7% EV on over 7.5 assists. That one's at plus 105 odds on DK Sportsbook, and it's plus money, and they have them better projected than it anyway. So I like Harden a lot. I have projected for over 8 assists as well. So James Harden over 7.5 assists, plus 105. PrizePicks also good, but you're getting minus money on there. FanDuel, minus 105 odds. The best bet's DK, but still pretty good EV for DK Sportsbook on Harden over 7.5 assists. Jaren Jackson under 2.5 assists, looking good in the pick'em sites on PrizePicks and Underdog, 16.3% EV. You can bet it, rounded up 8% EV on DK Sportsbook, under 2.5 assists for Jaren Jackson at minus 140 there. And good to go on FanDuel as well, minus 132 for Jaren Jackson, under 2.5 assists once again. How does Sohan? We moved off rebounds now. Let me finish this read and I'll try to go back for you. Sohan under assists looks good. Sohan under 2.5 assists, plus 124 odds, gets you 15.3% EV. Julian Champagny, 12.6% EV and is under 0.5 assists. So no assists for Champagny, playable on PrizePicks, but not on Underdog. Isaiah Hartenstein over 3.5 assists, 12.6% EV at plus 124 odds on FanDuel. Borderline playable on DK at plus 114 odds. And SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 10.2% EV on over 5.5 assists at -114 odds. FanDuel Sportsbook, not bettable anywhere else. Sohan rebounds. No good. No good on either side. Here's here. Look at the rebounds ones. Take a better one. Take Devin Vassell under 3.5. Probably better. Follow your heart, but if it doesn't look plus EV, I would generally avoid it. All right. And last but not least, our PRAs. Cleveland filed a Coro out as the only one listed. All right. So there we go. So Max Strus playing the back-to-back. Nobody hung over in LA. Or I mean, maybe hung over, but still bucking through it. There we go. Oh, thank you for that. You have a voice for sports radio. I don't know. I don't feel like it's sometimes. I think I'm too mushmouth for that, but I appreciate the sentiment. I'll take the kind words. It's like whatever confidence we can get heading into 2025. Jay Huff over 14.5 PRAs. My sweet boy Jay Huff, unabated likes him. 17.8% EV on the pick'em sites. Jay Huff over 15.5 PRAs, still bettable on DK Sportsbook at -105 odds, though it is less EV at 11.4%. Harrison Barnes under 14.5 on PrizePicks. That's PRAs, that is. Looking good to go. Underdog as well. Your pick'em sites, Harrison Barnes under 14.5 PRAs. It's a 17.8% EV. John Conchar under 18.5 PRAs. 15.8% EV on PrizePicks. Not bettable on Underdog, so only one pick'em site. But DK Sportsbook under 18.5 PRAs for Conchar, looking good at -120 odds. You get 15% EV on there. And everything else here, not bettable. So there we go. Again, these are still ruling out a couple guys, so are taking the teams out. But if you go to unabated, you want to mark LeBron in, see what the Lakers lines look like. They all look very soft for LeBron being out, is what I would say too. So keep that in mind. Go check it out for yourself. Unabated, $30 off. Great product. They help me put on the show directly every single day. So please go check them out if you have the ability to do so. Please click the link in the description and go check it out. Take a look. Take a little gander. See how it goes. Let's go to Stokastic next. Let's build some lineups here. Got our 5,000 lineups. We're going to have them compete 10,000 times, and we'll know the must plays. We'll look at the top ROI lineups. We'll look at some highest ROI players, highest exposed players, and I'll give you my splash plays at the end of the video, which are going to directly conflict with the sim exposures I had today because I just don't think that was right. I don't think it saved my projections if I had to guess, but still, it usually does. 15% off on Stokastic. And the solver too, which I do have to disclose, I do use for building lineups as well. So check that out. Just an optimizer, but when you have unique projections, you can do that a little bit more. Just run some straight projection plays and you're unique enough. All right, here we go. Let's run the sim and see what we get. And cheers to you guys. Happy New Year's. I'll put on, you know what? I'll put on the tiny hat on top of a hat. In case you can't see it, which I think would be fair because I'm pretty small right now on screen. It does in fact say Happy New Year on it, though the glare is kind of getting it. You can see it's a Happy New Year. You can see I'm festive. I still have noisemakers here, always. We're ready to go for New Year's, guys. The comedic hat on a hat. Never something you want to do in comedy, yet here we are. Tiny hat, huge balls. Thank you for that. Spags have to bite the bullet on this one. Told you wrong. The right way to say champagne is champagne. Champagne? Oh, I like that one even less. But all right, now I know. Champagne. All right. I don't like it. Again, I think champagne would make people a lot happier. You want to put some butts in the seats, you go champagne. Champagne is nothing. But my dog was named Penny, so, you know, it's a good name. Anyway, your top lineups here. Loading right before your eyes. It's favorite all 150. Top one. I'm not on the NBA show today, unfortunately. It's DK and Josh, so you'll get no puppet from me and no show tomorrow either. So you have to see me on Thursday. Maybe it'll be a Muppet. Maybe there won't. I don't know. You know, they came up with the name Stokastic. It's a numerical thing. I forget exactly what it is, but it's a methodology of filing numbers, I believe. But it's a number nerd thing because it's a data nerd site. That's the whole reason why. Scottie Pippen Jr., Dante DiVincenzo, Luke Kennard, Jalen Williams, Victor Wembanyama, Darius Garland, Jalen Wells, Jay Huff. So you are getting 4 Memphis Grizzlies in that top lineup. You are not seeing stacks here like you normally would for NFL, but you are going to be stacked up with Grizzlies today, no matter what lineup you're building. And frankly, if you play a Grizzlies blowout, you're getting unique, but there's really no reason to do that because the total actually does seem pretty fair for the Ja Morant-less and Marcus Smart-less Grizzlies. Number 2, Dante DiVincenzo, Desmond Bain, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Victor Wembanyama. Again, the Sims really do like Wembanyama. Scottie Pippen Jr., Jalen Wells, Mason Plumlee. Gotta say, Wells, again, rotate Wells around with the other guys we talked about before for Memphis. They're all the same play at guard: Conchar, Wells, Luke Kennard, but Wells is clearly being favored by the Sims at this point. Number 3 ROI lineup here with a 91% ROI. You have James Harden, Chris Dunn, Keldon Johnson, Julius Randle, Jay Huff, Desmond Bain, Kevin Durant, Mason Plumlee. So a little bit of Phoenix flair there. James Harden, who I do like. Julius Randle, I don't get it. But power forward is always tough to staff. Darius Garland, Kason Wallace, Keldon Johnson, Jalen Williams, Jeremy Sohan, Desmond Bain, Evan Mobley, Mason Plumlee. So taking some more Spurs instead of Victor Wembanyama in this one, which I think makes sense. Keldon Johnson, still low minutes, but he can get hot, so I can live with that. For a tournament lineup, we're trying to win a tournament. Cash, don't do that. Keldon Johnson. Honestly, he's owned enough. You could probably play him in cash. James Harden, Desmond Bain, John Conchar, Naz Reid, Jay Huff, Darius Garland, Jalen Williams, and Mason Plumlee. So interesting top 5s of lineups here. You're not getting any Lakers, it feels like, up top, which would certainly be a mistake if LeBron were ruled out. But for right now, low on Lakers with Stokastic data. Top ROI is according to Stokastic. We got Jay Huff is your highest, but a negative 0.2% still. So not a positive ROI, but he's your number 1 guy. Victor Wembanyama, number 2, negative 2.3%. Darius Garland, negative 3.7. Got a good price at 7,200. Ceiling, if he hits it, great. Jalen Williams, negative 3.9%. Mason Plumlee, negative 6.3. Anthony Davis, negative 9.4. Kevin Porter Jr., negative 10. So nobody with a positive ROI, which is going to happen on a short slate because there's only so many combos you can hit sometimes and probably a lot of duping. That's how that would look. Top exposed players, Desmond Bain coming up a lot for the Sims, 64% compared to 48. Scottie Pippen Jr., flat with the field, pretty close to it, 59% compared to the field, 61. So not a big stand in favor of Scottie Pippen, but still a priority play, a key play on the slate. Jay Huff, they want you to get almost 3x, 57% compared to 22. Mason Plumlee, 53% compared to 33. So a lot of paying down at least one center spot for people today on the slate who are going to be using Stokastic Sims. John Conchar, again, a lot of Jalen Wells out there. You're getting Conchar with the field still, 50% compared to 48. Victor Wembanyama, 45 compared to 17. Big pro Wemby stand here by the Stokastic Sim data. And Dante DiVincenzo, Sims support him as well, 37% compared to 25. Your highest leverage players overall. We got Jay Huff, 35% more than the field. We showed him already. Wemby, 27% more than the field. Mason Plumlee, 20% more than the field. Desmond Bain, 15% more, 16% more, if you want to be accurate about that. Bain, already going to be pretty chalky. They want you to get a lot of them. Jalen Williams, 15% more than the field. Darius Garland, also 15. And DiVincenzo, 12% more. Your most negative leverage plays. No LeBron here. Honestly, though, like if LeBron plays and he's getting fed like not a good play in the Sims, it's an interesting play. I think he's going to be less owned with his Q tag dragging out. Obviously, if you know about LeBron by 6 o'clock East Coast time, like it's going to change a little bit. For me, talking about it right now at 4:50 or so. But for LeBron James here, I like him if he's going to get in today. If he's going to be low in the Sims and have that Q tag on him all day. So I'll just say that out loud. Vika Zubac, I think also a play I'd want a little bit more of here. Wemby has made it tough on centers lately. Like Towns really busted his center chalk against him. Embiid was, I think, okay, but didn't do a whole lot. I don't know. It's a DVP thing, not something I worry about too much. And really, the Spurs, a competent team. Zubac, we like a little bit more when it's just going against a bricking team like he did yesterday with the Pelican spot. So for Zubac, okay play, but Sims don't like him. Kennard, negative 13% leverage. Jaren Jackson, negative 13% rounded up. Kevin Durant, negative 12%. I like Durant. I disagree with that. Vassell, negative 11%. Tyus Jones, negative 9%. All right, so that's your Sim look. Real fast, my splash plays of the day. Real quick, one more ask. It's New Year's, guys. You're here hanging out with me on New Year's Eve. What a fun party we're having right now. But please make sure to subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment. Your engagements go a long way for me. I'm just one guy running an NFL channel, an NBA channel, doing the best I can to show you my gambling and show you how I approach things with the knowledge that I've accumulated doing this long enough now and whatever success I've had. But I do appreciate you guys being here, being a part of this journey. This channel especially, we've hit our monetization goals in 2 months flat, which feels pretty good given the fact that I just only exist on YouTube. I don't really promote on Twitter at this point besides retweeting shit. So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for being in part of it. And let's look forward. Cheers to a good 2025. My splash plays for the day. I think Jay Huff has to be one. I do think, keeping in mind, though, that push pull with Jaren Jackson and Jay Huff would probably have a tough time playing them in the same lineups. Do you think if you're playing Huff, you should probably give a downgrade to the projection for Jaren Jackson? If you're playing Jaren Jackson, you should give a downgrade to Jay Huff. But there's really not a lot of value on the slate right now, so I think he's a strong enough play at 3,800, and not a lot of great ones are out there. Besides that, let me just sort again. I think the Clippers guys, even though Stokastic really doesn't like them and even seemingly overrode my projections in the sim to not give me them quite as much. I do like Harden on the slate. I do like Zubats on the slate. I think they're pretty strong plays. Harden, I think, one that I will be forcing my way to. So that's something that I guess I'll highlight. Kevin Durant, I would say close to a slash play. Harden's really the one. I think Harden, I'll put on the cape for Harden a little bit. I think Jay Huff is a value. Harden as another play. I think he looks good, and we'll see how much he tries on New Year's Eve will be the big question. But I appreciate all the kind chats here. Norman Powell's okay, but really not a big stand for him. Thanks for everything, Spags. Happy New Year. Appreciate your hard work and dedication. Success in 2025 to everybody in here. Yes, hope it's a great one. Hope it's a great slate tonight. Hope it's a great year for you all. And really, cheers to all you all. Hope you're having a great day with your going out, if you're young enough to be doing that, or you're like me and you're just going to be hanging out with the wife here because you have a kid and it's not worth a babysitter. Try to go on New Year's Eve. Are you fucking kidding me? So that's the vibes, though. But I'll be back on Thursday with more. Happy New Year's. Enjoy your New Year's Day, guys. And I'll see you soon. And hey, cheers. Gamble responsibly. It's always money time. And back on Thursday with more. See you then, guys. Bye-bye.